You're exhausted from the moment you wake up in the morning, and yet by evening you're wide awake, wired, and you can't sleep. There is a really common cause of that type of exhaustion, and it's exhausted adrenals. So in this video today, we're going to talk about what exactly is going on inside your body when you are stressed out day after day, the signs and symptoms that you need to look out for that are telling you that you need to take this seriously and begin to care for yourself. And I'll give you my top tips for just switching off all of those stress hormones and just encouraging peace back into your life. But first, if you're new to the channel, then welcome. My name's Fran Penberthy. My training is in nutrition, and I love talking about nutritious foods for health because this knowledge literally gave me my health back and helped me sort out my weight. I'm the founder of the Live Well for Good courses, where I teach you how to nourish your body back to health and strength and a great weight. I'm posting videos every week on this channel, so please do go ahead and hit the subscribe button, ding that bell so that you're notified for every new video. So let's get into this. So the fight or flight stress reaction, used as intended, is an amazing thing. It will save your life, it will avert disaster, it will keep safe everyone around you. That's called the stage 1 of stress, the alarm stage, and that is a healthy response to a stressor. It's immediate, it's short-lived, it deals with the crisis, and then everything gets switched off and your body returns to calm. But we're going to talk today about stage 2 of stress, which is called the resistance stage. And this is where nothing is getting switched off and your body is not returning to calm. And this is the stage that we know really well, don't we? It's where you're just overwhelmed and pressured and anxious day in, day out. But life doesn't stop, so you just have to ignore your racing heart and your anxious thoughts, and you just need to get through your day somehow, and you do it by just pressing all the stress down deep inside. But under the surface, all your stress hormones are just raging away, adrenaline, cortisol, and other chemicals constantly being produced at high levels because the stress is not stopping. And the intriguing thing is that it doesn't matter whether it's a real stress or just a perceived stress, the stress reaction inside your body is exactly the same. Adrenaline increases your heart rate and bumps up your blood pressure. But I want to focus in today on cortisol, because cortisol at those peaceful levels is at its peak first thing in the morning because it energizes you to get out of bed and hit the day running. And then during the day, the levels drop down naturally, winding you down, ready for a good sleep at night. And at those natural levels, cortisol is really strengthening of your immune system. And that's really important right now, isn't it? So imagine what happens if you've got high levels of cortisol raging right the way throughout your day, what that might do to your immune system. Yeah, it suppresses it. And that's definitely not what we want. I think we've all experienced that playing out in our bodies at some time or another, where we've said, I've been so stressed and now I've caught a stinking cold. Now here's the main connection between cortisol and that exhaustion that I described earlier, because one of its main jobs is to increase the amount of blood sugar in your bloodstream. So all the time that we are staying stressed out, day in, day out, maybe even year in and year out, then cortisol is busy putting sugar into your bloodstream. And as you'll remember from last week's video, high levels of sugar in the blood is dangerous, in fact life-threatening. So insulin has to kick in to get that sugar out of your bloodstream quickly. So you can imagine the scenario where cortisol is working overtime, keep putting sugar in, and insulin is having to work overtime to keep taking the sugar back out. That is just exhausting, and it's no wonder that we end up feeling exhausted. So what's the answer to this? Well, we need to hit that off switch and turn the whole thing off. So I'm going to share with you my top tips for how to just attack this from 2 different angles. Number 1, how to identify the root cause of what is stressing you so much so that you can address it. And number 2, how to de-stress using the right food choices and by introducing some fun daily habits. Now, I'm going to walk you through number 1 in this video, but in order not to keep this video going too long, I'm going to put number 2 in the description box so that you can grab it from there and keep it for future reference. But first, if you're enjoying this teaching, then please just put a thumbs up in the comments below. Okay, so let's tackle this number 1, getting to the root of the problem. Now, what you need to do is get a piece of paper and a pen, and I don't mind if you want to pause this video and go and get yourself ready with that. Once you've got your piece of paper, make it into 2 columns, and in the first column, I want you to write down everything in your life that is stressing you. Now, this may take you some time and there may be a lot of things, but I want you to write every single one down because they are all affecting you. Once you finish writing everything down and you can't think of anything else, I want you to imagine your most confident and assertive self. And I want that person to go through this list and tick the stressors that you could actually change. If you had a bit of bravery, a bit of strength, if you were feeling confident, if you weren't afraid. Once you've ticked the ones that you can change, then I want you to write the action in the next column, the second column, write the action that you could do if you were feeling like on your best day. It might involve saying no to somebody. It might involve asking for help. So you write down whatever that action might be. Now, when you've completed that, you are left with the stressors in that first column that are not ticked. Now, they're the ones that can't be changed. I mean, I'll give you for an example. What if you had an elderly relative living with you? You love them dearly and you want to give them the best care possible, but it is 24/7 and you're exhausted and completely stressed out. You can't change this. You wouldn't want to. So you need to ask yourself these questions. Number 1, what do I need to put into place so that I can begin to thrive through this? And number 2, how can I ensure that I have periods of peace to myself where I can recharge my batteries and begin to calm down again? This may well involve you having to admit that you can't cope alone, or having to just reconcile to the fact that someone else may not do the job as well as you would. But you have to remind yourself that it's better for you to make these decisions now before you actually crash. You know, this exercise is very simple. It can be extremely hard, but it is always very powerful. Now, I want you to remember that cortisol is not an enemy. At its normal levels, it's really beneficial to your health. So we just need to manage stress, keep it in its place so that it doesn't dominate your thinking and then impact your health. So if you've enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, then please do hit the like and the share button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and do that. Keep the comments coming in the box below. I love hearing from you, and I look forward to seeing you in next week's video.